Hey guys, welcome to Modern Crafting, week 974 of quarantine. Just kidding, it only feels that way. Okay, today we are going to work with air dry clay and we're going to be making a little dish. You can put maybe your spare change in it, little trinkets, rings, jewelry, keys if you don't have a million key rings on them. So here's a couple of examples. This is this leaf that I made into a little dish. And then also here's a little handprint bowl, and that came from this right here. And that's what that looked like. So I'm going to show you how to do that. The first thing you're going to do is decide what shape you want. And you can do whatever shape you like. I was originally just going to do my handprint, and then when I traced it out, it was huge. I never felt like my hands were big, but for this, you can see, well, you can see the difference in size. So it was almost too big. It looked too giant. So if you have small hands, or maybe you have a 5 or 6 year old in your house that you can pin down to trace, that's about the right size. Or I just went on and I found one online, just typed in handprint template. Maybe have your parents do that, help you with that if they don't want you just Googling random stuff. So you could do a pineapple dish, you can do a palm leaf, elephant, Star Wars logo, whatever. So pick whatever shape you like, and then I will show you how to form it into a dish. You are gonna need something to roll your, I almost said dough, clay out on, so you don't get it everywhere because it'll get on stuff, especially the darker color. You'll have your white, which for some of you this is off-white. It will lighten up as it dries, so it'll lighten up to more of a off-white color. Also, you'll have some black, and then a paintbrush. We got gold paint, silver paint, and I think that was what was in the kit. You will need something to roll your clay out with. Any rolling pin will do. If you don't have a rolling pin, you can use a jar, although this one's got writing on it. So maybe like a glass that has no indentations, or you can pretend we're in the apocalypse and you have to scramble and be creative, and you can even use something like this. Anything that you can roll with. Can of beans, whatever you find. So anyway, you will need scissors to cut out whatever design you decide on, and then you will need something to cut it out with. You can use a butter knife. I wouldn't use, this is called the serrated edge, where it's all bumpy. Don't use that edge, use the flat edge. If you have something a little sharper, if you have something detailed, like this hand was a little harder to get in between the fingers, so X-acto knife is great as long as you don't cut yourself, because you don't want to go to the hospital right now. So I'm going to use an X-acto knife, but you can use, I tried it with a butter knife and it worked fine. You can use a paring knife. So anyway, we're going to get started. I'm going to take a chunk of the white, and let's see, let's do the hand. We'll do the hand. So I'm just going to take this, make sure your hands are clean, which we know they are because all of us have clean hands right now. And I'm going to roll this out into a little log, like so. I would roll it on here, but it shakes the camera, so I gotta be careful. It's gonna look like an earthquake video. Okay, so I'm gonna roll it out like that. Then you're gonna take a small piece of the black, and now this gets all over your fingers. So once you roll out the black, you're gonna wanna wipe the black off of this area a little bit, and you're gonna wanna clean off your hands or it's gonna stain the white clay. So I'm just gonna squish it out into a little snake like so, and this is where my hands are gonna get gross. And you want it to be quite a bit skinnier than the white, because what we're doing is we're marbling it. So as you can see, like in this, there is just little, I don't know, marks, swirls of the black that gets mixed in. So we're gonna make a little log, pretty thin, put it up next to your thicker. I'm gonna use a white because I've got black all over my fingers and I don't want to mess up the white. Okay, so get them the same length as close as you can, like so. Can you see that? Then you're going to twist them together. Now, it's easier if you do this while they are laying down, but I want you to be able to see. So just gonna, you can start with the middle. Twist, see I'm twisting it. It will break apart a little bit, which will be a little bit frustrating. So I don't know if it's because it's dry clay or the air dry clay. Maybe the oven bake doesn't do that, I don't know. So we're gonna do that. See how it's twisted? Twist it as much as you can until it starts to break. And then what you don't want is like giant globs of the black in there. You want to kind of get as mixed as best you can. So it's like that. And then you're just gonna fold it in half and you're gonna roll it like this. And then we're gonna twist it again and it's gonna break apart a little bit, so you can just twist it the best you can. It's easier if you do it kind of down. So I'm gonna twist and then fold it in half again, roll it out. You can see now it looks kind of like a cow, a little bit, cow print. And I'm gonna twist it again. So you can do that maybe like 3 times. And then once I get it all twisted a bunch of times, I'm going to coil it like a delicious cinnamon roll, like so. And then I'm gonna squish it. So now I've got this ball of clay, semi-mixed. I can tell right now it's not as mixed as I like, but I will roll it out, flatten it. And you can kind of see, so right now, I don't know, it looks kind of more stripy animal print to me at the moment. I don't love it yet. Well, it's getting there. So if you want it to be more blended, I would just roll that baby right back up like that and twist again, and that'll mix it. If you mix it too much, you're not gonna have marbled clay, you're gonna have light gray clay. So you need to think about how much you want this to mix. So that's probably the last that I'm gonna do it, because I don't want it to mix too much. And then just roll it out. Like I said, if you don't have this, literally, like, oh no, I don't own a rolling pin. It's the apocalypse. I can't leave the house. What do? I just happen to have found something that rolls. Pretty much anything that rolls that's smooth is gonna get the job done. So this is where innovation takes place, guys. Okay, so I got that. That is better. I like that a lot better. So I found my handprint. I've cut it out with my trusty scissors. Whoa, don't swing these in front of your face. Let that be a lesson. Okay, here's my handprint. So it's like, that doesn't really fit yet. So I probably want to roll it this direction a little bit more. Now, what you don't want to do is get this like paper thin, because it's gonna not be very sturdy. So here's my trick. Like, I need a little more on this side, but I got a ton over here I don't need. Just cut that right off. And I'm just gonna add it over here. Just wanna make sure it's not doubled up and too thick in that spot now. So roll, roll, roll. Look at that. Okay, checking. It's there. Oh, see, that guy's gonna have a little bit of an injury. We gotta add some here on this finger. Okay. Well, gotta roll that out. You wanna make sure it's attached, otherwise he's gonna have a detached finger. And this guy is just missing the corner of his finger. There we go. Okay. Boom. Literally all we're gonna do is cut this out, and then I'll probably speed this part of the video up because this is gonna get really boring to spend 5 minutes watching me cut this out. But just cut slowly and accurately. See? Around. So the X-Acto knife is great because it's a really thin blade. And then I'll probably just get rid of that and get it out of the way. Put a mat down before you cut. Don't do this directly on your countertop, or your time at home with your mom will be unhappy. I guarantee it. So if you have a little cutting board or something that you can put down to prevent damage. Also, you can always use the trusty butter knife, which is not going to cause as much damage anyway. Okay, so here we go. I'm cutting it out. And then literally, this is air dry clay. So the only thing that you have to do after you cut this out is form it and let it sit for a few days, and then you can paint the edges of it like I did with the ones in front of me. This takes anywhere from, it says 24 to 72 hours to dry. I made it just a kind of flat, slightly rounded dish the first time I used this, and I think it might have taken a week. So it took a while to dry. So it kind of, it depends on how big your item is, and it depends on how thick your item is. So you can get this all formed and then just let it sit somewhere for a few days, and then go back and paint it and have a whole nother day of crafting. And if you just want to paint the edges, you can do that. That's what I did with mine. Or if you want to paint on it also. I gave you 2 colors of paint in your packet. I gave you a silver and a gold. Okay, so then we cap dangerous things so we don't accidentally stab ourselves when we forget that on the table. Peel this off. Ooh, look at that. Now we have a lovely hand. Ta-da. And to get it to curve, well, his fingers are a little deformed. Sometimes you have to kind of go back through and kind of get the weird spots out. A little pointy. Okay, with this one, I put it inside this bowl. You could drape it over the outside, or you put it on the inside. I kind of went back and forth and debated. I think in the end, it went on the inside, and then you can move the fingers around to where you want them to actually dry, like so. This one's a little, if you press it down really hard, it may never come out, so don't do that. Just form it and then let it sit. Come back in a few days. If it feels hard like this, you hear that? That's dry. So if you can push your nail into it and it indents with a nail mark, it's not dry yet. So I would say give it 2 or 3 days just to be sure. If you don't have the right size bowl, if you have one of these, you can drape it over, kind of figure out what shape you want it to be, or inside, that's I think too small. If you have a jar, drape. With this one, we draped it over this. I just did that. So once it's dry, 1 to 3 days, probably 3 days, you'll know because you can tap it and it's nice and hard. I mean, you can snap it and it'll break, so it's still a little bit fragile, so you want to be careful. Also, don't take this and do this and do this because it will break. So think fragile. Okay, then all I did was take some of my gold paint here and a paintbrush, dip it in, and then I just painted the edges all the way around and waited 20 minutes for that to dry. And then you have a cute little bowl. One thing I forgot to mention, on this one, I don't know if you can see, I actually sprinkled pepper on it, like peppercorn. If you have one of those, would you like pepper on your salad? One of those little pepper grinder things, you can do that on here, and it just gives it kind of a cool speckled effect, which I thought was kind of interesting. So, but you don't have to do that. That's optional. So literally that's it. Super easy, but fun and creative. I want to see what shapes you guys come up with. I love the creativity you guys show. So send me your photos. I want to see, and expect to start this, maybe spend a half an hour or so on it, and then come back a couple days later to finish off the finishing touches with the paint. And that's it. Hope you guys are having a great day. I'll see you next time.